What's going on, guys? Magnolia Mo here, and welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to take a look at Wake Up Dead Man, a Knives Out mystery that's available on Netflix. It came out this past weekend. I believe it was Friday, if I'm not mistaken. And I've watched it a couple times, and then one more time for this review. I wanted to actually provide my thoughts about the movie, about the video quality, about the audio quality. It's available on Netflix for free if you subscribe to Netflix. And if you love murder, mystery, and whodunit type of a genre, right, then this would be the movie to watch, in my opinion. Wake Up Dead Man, a Knives Out mystery, is the third movie in the trilogy, and to me it appears that these movies have gotten better with every iteration. Such is the case in this one. The photography is better, the black levels are better than the last two, right? The HDR effects are better than the last two. The sound, the Dolby Atmos, seems to be better than the last two. The acting is better than the last two. And most of all, right, the plot. The plot is better, in my opinion, right? In my humble opinion, is better than obviously the second one. First one has its own place because it was the first one. So I'm not going to spoil this movie for you guys. I just want to kind of lay out, what the premise of the movie is, and then we'll just go from there. Benoit Blanc returns for his most dangerous case yet. And it may be the most unsolvable case, in his own words, throughout the movie. So the premise of the movie essentially is that you have this young Father Judd Duplessis, who is sent to this church in New York that is run by Josh Brolin. He's playing Monsieur Jefferson Wicks, and the church has been in the family. There is a fortune, obviously, right? Any murder mystery is going to have a fortune. There is a fortune, and there is a murder, essentially, and enter Benoit Blanc. He's there. He's been hired to solve the mystery. Your main suspect is Father Judd, but there are others, right? And the cast for this movie is huge. I mentioned, obviously, Daniel Craig, Josh O'Connor, who's playing Father Duplessis. You got Glenn Close, Josh Brolin, who's playing Monsieur Wicks, Mila Kunis in this movie. She's the chief of police. Jeremy Renner, who's a doctor, Dr. Nat Sharp. You got Kerry Washington playing, a lawyer, Vera Daravan. Then you got Andrew Scott, Kaylee Spaney, Daryl McCormick, Thomas Hayden Church, and my favorite of them all, Jeffrey Wright. He has a small role, but the cast is very strong, and they hold the movie together. It is an enjoyable movie to watch, in my opinion. That's why I was able to watch it 3 times, basically, without falling asleep. And there's some good laughs, during the movie. But then, at the end of the day, it's all about solving the case, and that's the most interesting part of the movie. All right, so let's get started with the actual video presentation. The HDR is superb, and I love the use of specular highlights throughout this movie, right? Especially when they're inside the church, for instance, right? You'll have the character speaking, and then behind them, up above is, or directly behind them, there may be a window, and as they're speaking, and when there's a moment of clarity, for instance, the light, starts to come through, above, over their shoulder, over their head, and kind of eliminates that scene, right? So it's beautifully done. Black levels are superb. There are lots of night shots, right, in the movie, so you will appreciate the detail in all of those shots, especially around that 1 hour 32 mark. It is one of the most important scenes in the movie, and the usage of HDR and the black levels in that scene were spectacular. For video, I'm going to go with a 9 out of 10 for HDR, a 10 out of 10 for black levels, and a 10 out of 10 for color saturation, skin tones, the daytime shots. It's a very nicely done, nicely shot movie, clean, clear, and dynamic at the same time. So for an overall score of 9.7 out of 10. From an audio standpoint, the dialogue is super clean and dynamic throughout the movie, especially through my B&W CT 7.4 LCRS, right? So it's the same speakers, and it's a nice blend, you know, as the sound pans, and the dialogue sometimes is going to be in your right speaker, sometimes it's going to be in your left speaker, sometimes behind you. And then obviously there are instances throughout the movie when they're in the church, the dialogue essentially rises up, right, into your height speakers to give you that feeling where you are in a church. At the 9-minute 44-second mark, when Father Judd is trying to take measurements for like a missing cross over here, Josh Brolin's character, Monsieur Wicks, walks in, and the dialogue can be heard, you know, in through your height speakers, basically giving you this feeling that you are in a large church. And you'll hear it now. There you go. See? And throughout the movie, that is basically the theme. Whenever they're in the church, you will hear the dialogue kind of rise up into your height speakers, along with music that's prominent throughout the movie. Now, my estimation is that this is a 7.1.2 mix, because I did not hear any of the panning that goes on from the front to rear, or rear to front, or side to side when it comes to height speakers, right? It was pretty static throughout, you know, my 4 height speakers. Now, if you have 6 height speakers, you probably are only going to find that your top middles are the ones that are active throughout the movie. The front and the rear heights will not be active. Now, if you have a 6 height speaker setup, and if that's what you notice, let me know if you know, if I'm right in my assessment or not, because I do have 6 height speakers. With the Marantz AV7606, I can only do 4 height speakers. So that is the rub here. But at the end of the day, the object movement is limited to music, dialogue, a few other things in there. But it does, in the end, deliver a solid, you know, surround and height mix. So then moving on, at the 10-minute 50-second mark, when Glenn Close's character is giving you some of the backstory, you can hear the music, you know, in the height speakers. Right now, by the way, only the heights and the subs are playing. There's dialogue in the height speakers, as you can hear, to give you a good immersive experience, followed by some of the deepest bass around that 12-minute 30 seconds, 12-minute 40-second mark, where pretty much all 4 of my subs produced good amounts of bass in this particular scene. There are other scenes in the movie with some deep bass, but this one to me had some of the deepest bass that you will see, or that you will come across during the movie. 12-minute 38-second mark. There you go. And it continues. It's pretty good. And then at the 29-minute 59-second mark, when they're outside having a conversation, Father Judd gets punched in the gut. During this scene, you're gonna hear birds, I guess they're crows, you know, in your height speakers. There you go. That also is a good effect. Some spatial cues, as I mentioned. At the 33-minute mark, when Father Judd is outside the church at night, you hear music, clear music in your height speakers, not just echoes, not just like bleed, but clear, you know, height effects that involve tension-filling music as well. The height speakers throughout the movie are going to be active, and that's what I found engaging about this sound mix. Was didn't matter if it was the crows, or if it was the thunder, or if it was just dialogue or music. Height speakers, as well as your bass level speakers, they were all quite active, with some really good punchy bass and some really good clear dialogue. So without giving away too much of the movie, I'm going to stop right here. I feel like I'm going to spoil the movie for you guys if I show you more scenes. So I am going to basically give you my overall audio assessment. You know, it is an enjoyable mix. I love the music in the movie because it adds additional tension to basically what's going on screen, and it fits the movie perfectly. For your overall surround mix, right, just on your bass level speakers, I'm gonna go with 9 out of 10. For LFE, I'm gonna go with a 7 out of 10. just because it didn't have the infrasonic range, and even though there was good deep bass, you know, throughout the movie, I think 7 out of 10 is a good score. And then 8 out of 10 for height speaker usage. The overall audio score is 8 out of 10. So 9.7 for video and 8 out of 10 for audio. All right, guys, so let me know if you've seen this movie. Please leave your comments, your feedback for me. Did you enjoy the sound mix as much as I did? Did you actually enjoy the video? Because, you know, part of owning a home theater is not just audio, right? Video also goes a long way with it. And I think the movie delivered really well from a video standpoint, and the audio complemented, you know, the video to the extent that it made for a very enjoyable experience. And as usual, please don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video, and I will see you guys in the next one.